Isekai is bad, said every YouTuber ever, including me. Sometime in early 2022, I made a video on a somewhat unique isekai known as drifters. Since then, as far as the isekai genre goes, I haven't found much that had interested me. I mean, Reincarnated as a vending machine was pretty fun, but outside of that, I would have rather stayed away. But regardless of anything, I will give my flowers to anything that manages to intrigue and impress me. And while the weird rise of 7th villainous anime, if that's even how you say it, and the 7 million iterations of it has left me wildly unimpressed, I can't say the same for I Was Reincarnated as the 7th prince, so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability, which, if you're wondering, yes, this is actually the full fucking name. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with these fucking isekai authors? The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. The reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world. Suppose a kid from the last dungeon boonies moved to a starter town. Cautious hero, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious, but how the fuck does anybody even talk about these anime without getting a fucking cramp in their jaw? Hey Jared, have you seen this week's episode of the world's craziest assassin swordsman gets reincarnated as a penis in another world but he can't get erect? Do you see how inconvenient this is? What happened to just Naruto or Bleach or Demon Slayer? How am I supposed to fit the fucking name in the title of this video? I was reincarnated as the 7th prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. The anime that was super good. See how hard it is to do that? Fucking losers. Jokes aside, 7th Prince, despite the abnormally large and outright comical name, is worth watching. The spring and summer 2024 anime follows Lloyd, a dude who's pretty much obsessed with the idea of magic and everything that it encapsulates, which if you ask me is way more interesting than some guy trying to better his life. Look, I get it, bad life become better, soul of life, blah 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 blah. Yes, I understand how this is compelling, and as any good man does, I enjoy these types of works. I covered and plan on covering a bunch more of these anime, but sometimes the intricacies of a plot and what makes it interesting can simply lie in learning about what the author decides to establish for the world and its ideas. And the perfect example of something like this is One Piece. Yes, of course, One Piece and all these other anime have to have character moments that invoke emotion in the reader, but let's face it, you're more interested in what the One Piece actually is and why everyone wants it so bad, rather than what hidden trauma Nami has from her past. Both can be equally as interesting, but I believe that the value tends to lean toward the other side and not the one with character interactions. So before you watch this anime or even look into it, no, Lloyd is not Subaru Natsuki, nor is he Guts or Naruto or any of that bullshit. Lloyd is a child that is overpowered and is capable of causing holes in the earth that are so massive that they reveal the core of the very planet we reside on. And while this may not be meaningful in any way, it's fucking awesome. 7th Prince's value just kind of lies in it being cool as fuck, which actually separates it from every other isekai, or at least the mediocre to bad ones. Lloyd isn't interested in becoming king or ruler of the world and has zero interest in bettering his life unless it's about magic. He also is not interested in things like romance or even friendship for that matter. By definition, he is no hero or martyr for the world and isn't a role model whatsoever. In fact, I'd argue that Lloyd's selfishness and obsession can sometimes be almost ethically wrong, and makes the viewer question whether or not Lloyd himself is actually more twisted and evil than literal fleets of demon lords and monsters that possess humans for their own enjoyment. And this isn't to say that I dislike his character because of it. It's quite the opposite, as I said earlier. It's a fresh breath of air for this genre and is a perfect step in the right direction and immediately separates itself from any of the poop slop that drops every season. Still though, it's a moral gray area because while Lloyd can sometimes be selfish, obsessed, stubborn, and outright psychotic at times, he isn't doing the things in this series for some dominance over society. In fact, he states that it's simply for the betterment of humanity, and that since sorcery itself is only bound by the imagination, it by extension is an allegory towards humanity's dreams and desires. I also want to point out that, yeah, Lloyd can be pretty fucking evil and monstrous, as he is by far and large the strongest character in the story, but, and there is a huge ass but, Seventh Prince, and by extension Lloyd, is extremely wholesome and adorable and knows how to use tonal shifts to tell a story. Sometimes Seventh Prince is just adorable meandering for the purpose of meandering, and even goes as far as doing a short 2 to 3 minute side anime with cute and pretty animation. Speaking of animation, yes, as with any anime that I recommend, the art style and animation quality is pretty great. Nothing to lose your mind over or to cry about, but it gets the job done. It was done by Sumagi Akita Anime Lab, whatever the fuck that is, a name that's equally as annoying as Seventh Prince. This animation studio has like no resume whatsoever, and I can't even tell you who or what they are unless you're a fan of Meiji Gekken 1874, whatever the hell that is, but it was still pretty good. If you have eyes and ears, you'll notice two things though. One, in the title of this video, I say that Seventh Prince is a step in the right direction, and two, I don't really mention anything within the story that doesn't have to do with Lloyd. Well, that's because while Seventh Prince is a step in the right direction, it's also not perfect, and definitely, and when I say definitely, I seriously mean definitely, needs some work, i.e. more seasons to expand on its characters, which is where most anime like this unfortunately drop the ball. I have zero idea what the light novel holds for the future, or the manga for that matter, but what I can say for sure without a doubt is that Seventh Prince's cast is very weak. Do I like the cast? Yes, of course. They are somewhat... fuck, dude. Look, Seventh Prince's cast is mediocre at best, which is a huge issue and is something I'm worried about for the series. Yeah, Grimm is adorable and funny at times, and I need Sylvia to hold me down and milk me for 60 hours straight, but outside of attraction or just kind of liking these characters, they don't provide anything for the story. I'd argue that all of them can be written out and the story would be equally as interesting just following Lloyd and Grimm. I understand why characters typically have to be a part of a story, but if you're writing a story with that in mind, why would you write them in such an uninteresting way? It doesn't help your series in terms of monetary or narrative success. Perhaps it was the fact that the producers had only 12 episodes, and I'm not saying they did an absolutely horrendous job, but I mean, come on. Surely there could be something interesting. For example, there's a character by the name of Sylvia. Yeah, the one I said I wanted to milk me earlier. She's a very sexy maid who happens to love Lloyd with all of her heart, which is like, okay, cool. Kiss Shot from the Monogatari series, Beatrice from Umineko, Casca from Berserk, Saber from Fate, Togame from Katanagatari. All of these characters are sexy as fuck, and I need them all to milk me. And they're all in love with the main heroine of the story for one reason or another. You can make an attractive female character that even leans into overdone tropes that are like, hey, this is cool, I can turn my brain off. This kind of builds chemistry between the characters, but what else is there to Sylvia? If Sylvia was replaced by a different woman who happens to be equally as attractive and was in love with the main character, would the presence of Sylvia be missed? Do you see what I mean? This isn't just something that stands for Sylvia either, but the entire cast, excluding Lloyd and maybe Grimm because of his position in the story, which is just Lloyd's familiar. Why would I care that Lloyd's older brother is someone who's virtuous, kind, and respectful if there's no reason as to why he is outside of the fact that it directly dichotomizes how sadistic Lloyd can be? This isn't mentioning the fact that sometimes Seventh Prince can be insanely cringe. Yeah, I get it, the Japanese got different humor, blah 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 blah. Why the fuck does Lloyd's sister just kiss him on the lips as a prank? It's not even fucking funny, and this kind of bullshit exists in like every anime where there's some weird ass thing with incest or pedophilia or sexual assault or fucking foot fetishes or something. It's like, dude, does any of this really need to happen? Why the fuck would you ruin a good story with this garbage? What does this even add to anything? Who is enjoying this? You know, it's not even worth it. And I'm not trying to shit on Seventh Prince because I like this anime and I think it can be very great if done right, but it needs to be done right. And I can't praise this story and then act like it doesn't have its fair share of issues. Like I said, 7th Prince is a step in the right direction and comes recommended. In fact, weird anime bullshit aside, it comes heavily fucking recommended because it's great for what it is, and let's face it, are you going to watch the fucking Rick and Morty anime, or are you going to watch something that could genuinely be generational with the amount of potential it has in world building? Probably the world building, don't fucking lie to me. So yes, you should entirely watch 7th Prince, and I'd say from all the anime that have come out this year, it is a must watch. It comes more recommended than Healing Isekai, which I also talked about formerly. Go watch that video. I think if season 2 nails things correctly, it could become far bigger than what it is already, but it needs to fix these issues and quickly or else it'll fall off a cliff. That's gonna do it for this video. For anyone wondering, the AOT series will resume again this month. At the time of recording this video, my birthday is actually tomorrow, October 4th, and I'll be going on a vacation to the Bahamas, but I wanted to talk about this anime before I left, as I probably won't be uploading or streaming for about a week or two. Please like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and until next time, it's Mabi, the guy who does anime recommendations, rants, reviews, and retrospectives, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.